Hey everyone, another video here. Today I wanted to talk about the multi-timelines or the other timelines or futures in MLP. And we see this at the end of season 5 when Starlight goes back, prevents the rain boom, and there's all these different timelines. Now, some of these timelines really confuse me. The only one that doesn't confuse me is the Nightmare Moon timeline. But every other timeline confuses me quite a bit. And the reason for this is okay, think of it this way. So, let's think about how the timeline would go, okay? Also, I had this thought that before I talk about that, I'm going to confirm right now. I feel like it's kind of confirmed that there are multiple timelines because when Twilight goes back the first time or goes to the future the first time, like to a different one, she still has her wings and cutie mark. She still earned it, and she still became a princess in the original timeline. That was never altered. Well, okay, yes, it was altered with, but it's more like Twilight has to get back to that timeline, and the only way to do it is by having the sonic rainbow happen. Rainbow will dash do it. Now, anyway, so the reason every other timeline doesn't make sense to me is let's think about what goes, okay? So, think about it. The rainbow happens, right? They all get their cutie marks. They all meet up later. They defeat Nightmare Moon, etc., right? And because of them never coming together, they never defeat Nightmare Moon. So she rules over. That makes sense. Now, here's where it doesn't make sense to me. Why would there be a timeline where Chrysalis rules at all if Nightmare Moon would have already ruled over her? Like, wouldn't Nightmare Moon rule everyone at that point? And it's already confirmed like that every time they go to the future, they're going to the same point in time. That's confirmed straight up. So why does the Chrysalis timeline exist? Nightmare Moon should be ruling in that timeline. Why does the King Sombra timeline exist? Yeah, they never defeated him, but they never defeated Nightmare Moon either. Nightmare Moon should be in ruling in every timeline. Like, doesn't that make sense? Like, it makes sense to me because she's never defeated, so she rules. The Nightmare Moon one should be the only timeline that they come back to. That's the only thing that should change. None of the other timelines should exist. In fact, the timeline that's probably most canon is the one where Twilight, Starlight, and Spike go back to the future and there's just nothing. Now, a lot of people theorize what timeline this might be. I think I figured out what the timeline is. And I believe that the timeline is everyone. Everyone, all the villains win. What I mean by that is not only does Nightmare Moon rule, but then Chrysalis does, and so does Tirex, Discord. I think everyone ruled to the point where the whole world, the whole land, just there was just nothing left. They all killed each other. They all destroyed each other. None of them worked together, and everything was just destroyed because they all were trying to rule because nobody was there to stop them. So actually, those are the only two timelines that don't confuse me. The Nightmare Moon one and the one where everything's destroyed. Those two timelines I can see happening. But why is the T-Rex one happen? Why would yeah, why would it? Why would this how would T-Rex escape? Discord was never freed. And then again, you have to think Discord was freed, wasn't he? Now here's where it gets really confusing. In the Discord timeline, the one where Discord wins, you can see Celestia and Luna. That makes absolutely no sense because Nightmare Moon was never defeated. She's still around. Or even if like that, she still wouldn't have been, maybe she didn't get freed or wasn't defeated, but the main six were never there. So that's where it gets really confusing. So why is she there with Luna? Why? Nightmare Moon was never defeated. Because every timeline is supposed to suggest that Twilight and her friends, like, I know it's for the sake so we can see what all the outcomes would be like, but if you really think about it here, the only timelines that exist are the one where Nightmare Moon wins, and the one where there's just nothing. Those are the only two timelines that should exist. And the little differences, like, there's not really that many differences when every time they go back, other than, like, Starlight and her fighting. Like, yeah, Twilight tries to talk to Rainbow Dash as a filly. And actually, that's one of the funniest things in the episode is that Rainbow Dash actually points out that Twilight's an alicorn, which I think is interesting, but thing like that. Like, and it's even explained, like Applejack explains the Somber timeline, but like, can we explain what happened to Nightmare Moon? Like, didn't she come back? And maybe Nightmare Moon didn't come back. I guess that's fine, but then wouldn't the Discord timeline be the one that happens? Default? Because if Nightmare Moon never escapes, then, well, Discord was never, you know, stopped. Or are we supposed to suggest that he also never turned to stone? Wait a minute. To be fair, the spell was broken because they were never connected to the elements of harmony. So maybe this. So, in fact, what should have happened is that Discord timeline shouldn't exist at all. There's no way for it to exist unless someone freed Discord, but nobody would free Discord. I can't see Celestia doing it at all because he's evil. He didn't want to reform him at that time because, well, they didn't have the elements of harmony. And they're still connected with them, so the spell would never break. The Discord timeline shouldn't exist. It has so much wrong with it. Discord should have been never able to escape. Discord, Luna shouldn't be there because she was Nightmare Moon. Like, it doesn't make sense. You see what I mean now? These timelines don't make sense at all. Nightmare Moon one makes perfect sense. Nightmare Moon was never stopped. She was freed. She banished Celestia to the moon, and she started ruling. Makes complete sense. But what doesn't make sense is all the other ones. It just doesn't make sense to me. Like, it doesn't. I'm surprised I haven't seen anyone talking about this on YouTube. Maybe there's some people out there who've, like, talked about this, but I'm basically trying to say the only timelines that should exist, that we should see, is the Nightmare Moon one and the Emptiness one, where there's just nothing. Those are the only two timelines we should see. Are we supposed to suggest that, like, there was a slight change that caused, like, what? What slight change? Are we supposed to just assume that the timeline we see with Discord happens? How? It's never explained. It's never explained how that happened because Discord never escaped. He never escaped because they're still connected with the elements because Celestia, like, Twilight never got a hold of the elements with her friends because they never became friends, meaning that the, like, Nightmare Moon was never defeated, but it also means that Discord was never freed. And Tirex was also never freed then. Tirex wasn't freed because Discord is the reason that Tirex was able to get free. But to be fair, now that I'm thinking about it, Discord was never there to stop him, so I guess that makes sense that he would rule. Then shouldn't the Tirex one be the default one? Think again. Okay, let's think of what timeline should be the most canonical, like, of events that should happen. Like, in the end, in present day, this is the one who should be ruling. Okay, let's think. So, Nightmare Moon rules, right? Discord doesn't get free, so Nightmare Moon is still ruling. Chrysalis, I don't think I feel like Nightmare Moon could easily defeat her, honestly. We're just gonna say that. So Nightmare Moon still ruling. King Sombra, I don't know. Now that I'm thinking about it, would King Sombra win? Who would win the fight? Nightmare Moon or King Sombra? I'm gonna say, I don't know. It's like a thing because who would win in the fight? Like, maybe they would rule together. I don't know. I'm gonna say again that I'm gonna say that King Sombra would win here. He probably would win. So King Sombra's now ruling. To be fair, we do see back home that things are kind of fine, but there's this war going on. So even if, like, Nightmare Moon would probably be in charge still and try to defeat him, so I don't think either of them would be defeated. So they're both kind of ruling now, actually. And what happens after that? So Chrysalis is defeated. King Sombra is now ruling over there. I don't know if Nightmare Moon would even do anything or what, but, you know, she's there ruling. What else happens? And then season 3 happens. Twilight never becomes a princess. And I can't remember. Oh yeah, Sombra was in the beginning. No, was he in the beginning of season 3? I don't remember exactly. I'm gonna have to look at this on Netflix real quick. I'm gonna have to look at this on Netflix. Okay, so season 2 had Discord, right? It had Discord, but he would never get free because they were never connected elements. Nightmare Moon still ruling, obviously. And then season 3 happens. We're gonna go up to season 5 because that's what we're supposed to do. Okay, so, you know, Chrysalis would probably very easily get defeated by Nightmare Moon. Then there's the Crystal Empire. I don't know, they would both be ruling. I don't even know if Nightmare Moon would really do anything. It's described that there's a war, so Nightmare Moon probably wouldn't care at all. So Princess Twilight Sparkle, that's just, it's non-existent. The episode cannot happen because Twilight never became a princess or even made friends. all hell broke loose. Keep in mind, we never see Twilight in these timelines at all. So I guess Twilight's overriding herself, I guess. So she never becomes a princess. The forest would probably take over the tree, but even if the elements like are still there, because Discord still planted them, that's still canon. So they would, so all hell would break loose. Nightmare Moon would probably get captured or beated. So Twilight's Kingdom again doesn't exist, but T-Rex would get free. I don't know. He would probably defeat Nightmare Moon. So T-Rex defeats Nightmare Moon, and then the cutie map happened in season 5. Starlight probably would keep ruling over a village. That would just be keep going on. And then we get to the cutie remark. Here's the thing. I'm about to tell a huge pothole. Think about it. Why did Starlight go back? To get revenge on Twilight. But if she never met Twilight and their village is fine, then there would be no way, like, for them to meet, meaning that Starlight would have never gone back in the first place. Her doing it is a big paradox by itself, because it would cause her not even to meet Twilight. But in keeping this, so they never met, right? So she never goes back in time. So at this point, T-Rex probably ruling. So that T-Rex timeline is probably like the official one. Like that's what it would be like in the present. T-Rex probably just ruling. Discord probably still trapped in stone because the elements are still connected with Celestia and Luna. Well, Celestia. Luna is Nightmare Moon. And yeah, T-Rex ruling. Zombra's doing his own thing. Maybe even T-Rex would beat Sombra, take all his magic. Because he's so powerful, right? And he would never take Twilight's magic. He would probably take, he would probably, like, Celestia and Luna would probably, Celestia, I mean, would probably go to, T-Rex if she thought it was a vision, and T-Rex would probably take her magic. So, yeah, I'm gonna say right now, T-Rex ruling is probably the most unlikely. That is the one that is probably most likely. He would probably overpower everyone else. That's why. But then again, the dirt one is probably if they all tried to fight. I mean, everything, all hell broke loose. But to be fair, Discord's still stoned. So he never escaped. Starlight's not doing anything to anyone. She never goes back in time, making this whole thing, like, not happen. Like, do you see what I mean right now? How all these timelines, most of them shouldn't exist because that shouldn't be how the present is. But, yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about in this video. Because it just occurred to me, like, how most of this stuff just doesn't make sense, the timelines. How the alternate timelines, some of them shouldn't exist at all. And what would happen for the future? Let's talk about that real quick. So season 6 happening, there's the crystalling. Would Cadence and Shining Armor still get married? Maybe, probably. They probably still have a kid. And then there's the Wear 'em Back in, where the changelings. I don't think that episode would happen. There's no one to stop them, and they wouldn't even be there because I think the changelings are just completely gone. Season 7, Star Swirl's never freed because Twilight isn't there to free him, so he's never freed. Season 8 happens. Nope, no school is opened at all because no Twilight. And then the Flim and Flam one's a bit of a random one. I'm not really touching on that. I don't even know if that would happen, maybe. And then there's School Rays. Would Cozy go to that? I don't think so, because there's no School of Friendship. Season 9 happens. The princesses probably wouldn't retire because who are they going to give it to? There's no other princess. There's just Cadence. And then there's the ending where the villains wouldn't come together because Discord would never get them together and the whole hell is just broken loose and there's just nothing. So, yeah, that's what I think would happen. So basically saying, without the main 6, the world would be fucked hard. And how these other timelines shouldn't exist. The only timelines that I can see are the Nightmare Moon one and the T-Rex one. That is it. The Discord one cannot work. It is impossible. It literally is impossible for it to work. Because Luna's there. Why is Luna there? She's still Nightmare Moon. It makes no sense. It was more like showing what would happen if, like, it was more showing, like, what would happen if our heroes just did nothing at that time. Like, if they did something for the, like, for example, the Discord one would be if, like, they did defeat Nightmare Moon, but if they just weren't there for that. But, like, they wouldn't be there for Nightmare Moon. You see what I mean now? Basically, I'm gonna call this video why other timelines in MLP should not exist or something like that. But yes, they are all alternate timelines, mainly because Twilight still has her wings, she still has her cutie mark, and a timeline she got her cutie mark and she became a princess. She just had to get back to it by putting things back on track. So yeah, it's a video I had a lot to say there. Just what I heard. Also, have you ever noticed that season 3 is the only one that doesn't have 26 episodes? I'll say that for a sec, why I think this is. Also, season 3 and season 9 were both have their final episode not be a special, and I'm sure that's happened before, but I'd like to think that the reason for it is because like they probably wanted to make Twilight an Alicorn quick. They wanted season 3 to be done and over with. They didn't make any for it. They just wanted Twilight to be an Alicorn. It was like a unique situation there at the season. It was like Twilight's big moment. And then yeah, season 3 and 9 are very similar in that way, where her big moment happens in season 9 where she becomes a ruler. There's a prologue. So that's why I think season 3 is the only season in the entire series to have, not to have 26 episodes and to only have one two-parter. But the last one is a special. Magical Mystery Cure is a special. I mean, continuing season 3 with episode 14 with Princess Twilight Sparkle, I don't think that would have worked. So I'm glad they just started a whole new season. So yeah, that's why. Thanks for watching, and that's what I had my thoughts on. So yeah, I feel like the other timelines just should not exist, especially the Discord one. The Discord one makes no sense to me at all. Bye guys, and yeah, it was a theory. Well, it was more than a theory video. It was more, I guess it kind of was.